go up the street at 9 because at 9 o'clock they couldn't, it's dark, they have to be done. So I think it would be as quick, I don't think, we definitely wouldn't go beyond 11, we just say 11. And again, this was what came out of a meeting with 5th Precinct, with the mayor, with Trustee Hilton, with the chairman of the restaurant committee, Riverfront committee, the Live After 5 committee, the business promotions committee. So, I mean, all this was discussed at that, and I know nothing's been approved yet. That doesn't mean everything's gotta go through, just because that group said everything was okay. But I know all these things were considered at that time. It was discussed.
Well, I think since the temperature is hovering in the 20s and it's still getting in
It's hard to wrap
February
your
and
head
there's
around.
snow on the ground, I think we could probably wait another.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and particularly with regards to Live After 5, I agree. I mean, family fun night and oldies night, that would be something that the board wants to continue the discussion. We could, hammer out those details, but if you want to wait, that's my suggestion.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Jerry's.
Well, it really isn't have to be. It's not on the, it's not on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah.
All right, I have nothing else, unless anybody's got any questions, and everybody have a great night.
Thank you, David.
And thanks for amassing the troops tonight, David.
Well, I tried to amass the truth.
Well,
We got a handful.
More lively discussion than we've had in the last few weeks on this, and I just want, I personally, as a village trustee and deputy mayor, I would like that everybody understands how serious this issue is, and I know that some people think it's a petty issue and that we should be worrying about other things, but, this is an important issue, and I think everybody who's got skin in the game needs to be part of the conversation.
Well, we certainly recognize that you've gone full lengths to work with the business community, and we definitely appreciate continuing that discussion.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to give a brief theater report, and what I'd like to do is just commend and applaud Chris Capabianco, who earlier this week celebrated the 100th show at Live in the Lobby, and it was just a wonderful day for Chris because earlier in the day he picked up the Long Island Advance and saw that he was Long Island Advance's Man of the Year. So if anybody here doesn't know Chris, he's one of those people in Patchogue who really make Patchogue what it is. He gets involved, he loves his village, he's passionate about things, and he has become the impresario of Patchogue, like was in your paper. And if you see Chris on the streets, pat him on the back, be gentle, he's frail. But he deserves everything, all the credit he's gotten from the advance and also from the 100 show at the theater. He does a great job. And he's one of those people that doesn't need a lot of arm twisting to get involved. So congratulations to Chris. And
Jack, I just mentioned that also in that article that Trustee Keys was a nominee, as well as, I believe, Trustee Burke's wife.
well, congratulations. That's right. Yes.
Am I correct? Lynn?
They were not.
Yes, they were.
So it's a pretty tough choice. I'd like to request approval to hire Cullen and Donosky LLP to provide audit services for the year ending May 31st, 2014 for the village, including the Justice Court part, at a cost not to exceed $28,000.
The Tron hasn't changed in, I think,
No, it hasn't
at least 7 years. They've been joining us the same doing it.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Request approval for the residents of Highland Avenue to hold the 17th annual block party on Saturday, July 12th, with a rain date requested for July 19th. Are you invited to that, Brian?
As an alumni, maybe?
Yes.
Former resident?
Yes. Are we going to, what do we do?
Waive the alcohol.
Waive the
The
alcohol.
neighborhood would appreciate that.
Okay, that's a motion.
Second.
Anyone opposed? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Request approval for the Patchogue Lioness Club to hold the 11th annual Walk for a Guide Dog on Sunday, May 18th. We don't have to waive the alcohol for that one? Okay, that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Request approval to hire James F. Burns and Pedro Ramos as public safety officers at $16.25 per hour. Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's all I have. Trustee Keys.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Krieger, fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen. Couple things last Saturday. Congratulate Marion Russo and all those who participated. I'm going to talk about this, the fair at the art space, the Black History
You
Cultural
can talk about
Fair
it.
for them, which was
I did have it
spectacular.
on my list, but you can talk
Now,
about
I was just going to say how well it really went. Congratulations, Linda Lucy, for being recognized for her work as well. But it really was, a good affair.
It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yes, it
I
was.
think we violated the occupancy code. There's so many people there.
Thanks, Tom.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Please.
You couldn't walk around the room, it was so full of people. It was great.
As you can probably assume, the DPW is still pretty busy with snow removal operations. And we're looking at more, I think, coming this week. We had to, salt supply has been a problem, as you know, if you read the Newsday, county, the state, all of it. So we did manage to get some more from the county. And we're in good shape for this week, we have enough for this week, but it has been, using a lot of supplies. Thank God for that. Thankfully we have that great agreement, salt for services with the county, so that it's there and we're not buying it. Of course, we can only get what they have. If they don't have it on hand, we have to wait until they get it. So it did cause a little bit of stress, but we're okay with it and we'll be okay for this storm as well. I would like approval, it's not on your agenda. 2 weeks ago, we approved a temporary position for DPW. I didn't have a name. Tonight I have a name, and I'm told that to make it official, we have to actually do that. So I'm requesting approval to hire Joe Gessner as that temporary position, to fill that temporary position that we approved 2 weeks ago. And that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Long day.
I know the most interesting reports, Jack, but
It's way interesting. I was thinking so much about it, Joe. I'm sorry.
requesting approval for Barbara Stark to attend an Excel training class in Alandia on March 12th and 13th at a cost not to exceed $350 for the cost of the course plus expenses. That's a motion.
Second.
And just quickly, CDA report, we did
Wait,
get...
Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, see?
Don't rush it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Very quickly, CDA, we did get some good news. I don't know if you recall last year, we had some drastic cuts in funding from HUD. We had to actually, we could not fill any Section 8 housing needs for anybody. And fortunately, we did get some money back, or they increased a little bit, and we will be able to help out at least 4 or 5 more needy families from good housing. And anytime you get money from anybody, that's a plus, right? So it's a good sign. And I believe that's all I have.
Okay. Trustee Creamer.
Good evening. Just one particular item. I had wanted to announce that the Old Town Hall is officially in contract. The entity that's looking to purchase the building is actually signed the contracts, made deposits, just waiting for closing date. And one of the things that they're going to look to do is connect to our sewage treatment plant. So they forwarded us a letter. It's addressed to Mayor Panieri and to the board, that they're looking to make a formal request to the village board to allow us to have an out-of-district connection. So they are still, I guess, the contract vendee, so we're looking to make that request on their behalf for 201-205 South Ocean Realty, LLC, to start that process. So that would be in the form of a motion, and I guess they would then contact Frank Russo to draft the map and plan.
I'll contact
Yes,
them.
do that. Okay, very good.
Second.
And then as soon as we get a closing date, I'll make an announcement to the board and let everybody know. But they're retain the services of the local architect who did a tremendous amount of work when we considered moving Village Hall over to Old Town Hall. And they have a great jump on, full architectural drawings on the building and looking to move forward rather quickly. So it's a rather exciting time to see that building finally take that next step. So,
Okay, a motion, second?
Second.
Second by trustee Keys, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
and that's all. That's all.
But just to add to that, how long have you been working on that?
Well, not two good solid years, and we came close a couple of different times, but, former Supervisor Lesko made decisions to enter the private sector, and we were right at the cusp of making a deal, just as he was leaving office, and, through their transition and a couple other complications, it got a little sticky there for a while, but he was able to resurrect that negotiation, and wanted to thank Brian and you also, and Paul obviously been a tremendous help in pushing this from our end as well. It's taken a lot of work from a lot of people, and I think the town is right to let the building go. They have no need for it, and obviously they don't have the funds that are necessary to rehabilitate the building, so it'll be good to see it relit.
Yeah, I think, Supervisor Romaine kind of put that on the fast track to get that done pretty quickly. I think they did a good job. What are they gonna do with it? Any kind of?
It's going to be used for office space, and they're still leaning towards a medical use of the building. And they've started, reaching out to the Brookhaven Memorial Hospital, as well as some other tenants that they're going to look to house there. It's probably going to end up being a consortium of different practices, but it will be a medical use building.
Thanks for all the work on that. It's been when I first got here in 2004, Tim Mazie and John Laval were here, one of the first meetings, talking about us making it the senior center. So it was, it's gone, how many years is that, 10 years? Finally.
So
Thanks, Jack.
you're welcome.
Trustee Furr?
Deputy Mayor, fellow trustees, attorney, clerk. I'll be very brief tonight. I want to request approval to waive the permit fee for Young Years Real Patchogue for replacement of their sign. It's at 28 Mowbray Street. It was blown down in Sandy, and they're wanting to put up a 5x5 sign, 5 foot by 5 foot sign to replace it. That's a motion to waive the fee.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
That's all I have.
I just have one more thing I wanted to talk about, was the parking meter revenue. The first few weeks, we were averaging about $2,100 in revenue, which covers costs for the village, right? And last week, we dipped down to $1,900 due to the fact that we had a couple of snow days. And when the snow falls, we don't expect people to be cleaning the snow off the numbers and putting money in the meters. So, it's very few problems, very few complaints about machines not operating properly. Laura, you're uptown. Do you hear anybody saying that the machines aren't working, or?
I haven't heard.
Okay.
I mean, there was one concern, one lady, there was a lot of snow on the ground, she didn't know what spot number she was. I said, well, take a picture, you
Yeah.
should get a ticket.
Yeah, but
But that was it.
if the snow covers the numbers, we're not asking people
Yeah.
to do that. Just want to mention that Trustee Keys and I did a sign inventory on the street last week, and we're making sure all the signs are correct, and there's no ambiguity about where to park. So once we get those signs, some signs had to be taken down, some signs will be replaced.
I yesterday keep me posted, I'll let you know as soon.
Okay, hopefully by next week they'll be up, and once those signs are up, we'll start to be able to give out violations. So, you know, we've had about a month of just, you know, just a dry run basically, but soon the violations will be there once we get the signs. So if any of the customers come in, just let them know that. Okay, trustee Devlin.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I've got a whole bunch of things here. First of all, I wanted to congratulate our local business, Blue Point Brewery, for being sold to Anheuser-Busch this week for $24 million. Those guys were one of the first craft brewers before the craft brewing thing got big, and they're distributing in 15 states, and I believe they're number 35 in the top 50 craft brewers. So I understand from what I read that the owners will be staying on and managing, but this really gives them an opportunity to grow the business by having ownership with Anheuser-Busch. So I think that's a great Patchogue success story.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to congratulate them. A couple of good things going on. The Pack Gallery show that's up right now, Precognition, if you haven't seen it, get in and see it. You get a little, what would you call that, Tom? Like a little blurb in the calendar of the New York Times, but different than the other listings they had, and we didn't put it in the listing, so I don't know how they got it. Maybe the artist sent it, but they did have a photograph of one of Lorena's drawings, which is a really beautiful drawing, and we were really excited to see that in the New York Times. So, so that's it for Patchogue Arts Council, and then as Trustee Keys mentioned, we had a fantastic Black History Month reception, and the exhibit is still up, organized by Tracy Todd Hunter, who was on the cover of the Long Island Advance this week, right above Chris Capobianco. I sent him a little message. I said, you know, you've heard that song on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Well, you're on the cover of the Long Island Advance. And he was very excited. But it was a great evening. There were a lot of honorees, including Linda Luzzi. And it was just a fantastic evening. And like Tom said, I couldn't believe how many people came to attend the reception for Tracy's Black History Month. I've been hard at work. Dennis and David will tell you, because I drove them crazy over the last week getting letters of support and all manner of things, because there were two Suffolk County grant opportunities for the arts. One was for an arts council. So we have a proposal in for the Pac-Mac Festival. They're only awarding to two arts councils out of the 8. But it had to be a downtown-centric project, and not all of the arts councils have the advantage of being located in downtown as we do. So the Arts Council came up with a proposal to do a festival of music, art, and cinema in October in the Main Street and downtown area, and this will be I called it a full-week, multi-venue, multi-discipline festival. And Dennis got me the letters and the information I need. Marion Russo was a huge support. Dave, you were a huge help. And I was still at the post office 15 minutes before the 5 o'clock deadline. But I worked on it for like 10 days. It's just, it's unbelievably hard work to put together a grant application and satisfy everything that they want, and make 17 collated copies of all manner of things. I mean, the box was this big. And then there was a second opportunity for which artist groups could apply. So I assisted a group of artists from Art Space, sponsored by the CDA, along with Marion, to hopefully, if they get funded, to replace the mural on the Stanley's Furniture store. So if you go down the road walkway, it's on the right, and there's a long, long mural, and it's all peeling, and it hasn't been updated in years. So we want to work with Marion to make that deal with the history of the Rotate Factory, because that is the road walkway. So that's a $5,000 grant, and fingers crossed we'll see if we get it. And David was a huge help again in getting the owner of the Stanley's building to actually give us permission to do the work, and he signed the letter and said that he would give us permission to do the work on the building. So that grant also went in the mail at 5 o'clock on Friday. And let me see what else. The Pack Gallery, Art Space. Just, well, we had, oh yeah, I have one more thing. So the CDA has contracted with Patchogue Arts Council to be their advisor on public art projects. And their CDA is funding a replacement of the mural at the Furman park where the pump station is being replaced, which is why I asked, which is the wall of the Chinese restaurant. So we put out a call to artists, and I believe we got 6 or 7 submissions, and we submitted our top 3 picks. The Patchogue Arts Council Visual Arts Committee picked their top 3 picks, and we presented that to the CDA board, and they'll make a decision as to which one is their preference.
Yeah, very interesting stuff, and I think we
Thank
probably will let, this board be given as well. But,
Okay.
the decision will come from CDA, but obviously,
Absolutely, but, they were all the 3 that we picked were all a little bit different, and all with the
Very
theme
interesting,
of
right,
Patchogue.
Tom? Illustrations?
Well, Marion said it was more than she expected. She didn't expect to get full color proposals, and I thought we got some good proposals, so that was exciting. And then finally, if you're in town, want to see a movie, the movie playing at Plaza Mac right now is August Osage County. And that'll be playing this week and possibly next week.
Take a Prozac before you go.
My husband said it's there's a lot of anger.
It's the best portrayal of a dysfunctional family that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really? Do you
Meryl
recommend it?
Streep,
Do you recommend the movie?
absolutely. It's a must-see. I might go back and see it again.
It's got Phil's
I got
prescription.
Prozac.
That's all I have for tonight, everybody.
Okay, I just have one more thing, that's for trustee Hilton.
I think Christina's here. She's been patiently waiting for 2 hours. I really should have had
I
her
should have
early.
said
I know.
something.
I feel bad. Come on up.
I'm sorry.
Hi, don't be sorry. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet, I'm Christina from the Patchogue YMCA. How are you guys? So we would like to hold a 5K on Sunday, April 27th at 9 a.m. We were given the path that other 5Ks have taken, so it'd be approved path. 100% of the proceeds will go to our Patchogue community to send a kid to camp. We raise money all year long. Everything we do as a not-for-profit goes to Patchogue community to send local children to camp, whether it's our Holtzville location or here at our Patchogue location. So that is our hope.
Do you know how
We,
trustee Hilton?
yes, Christina met with trustee Hilton
Okay.
and Maria, and the date's
So
been
this is
secured, and the route is, everything's
The
around.
route is the
Yep.
Hilton route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be healthy.
All right, so as long as
Yeah, no, they're all
trustee
on
Hilton is on board, is in the mayor too? Okay.
Sorry, Christina.
Don't
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second here. Approved, anybody against? No, everybody for it? Okay, good. Approved. Thank you, I'm sorry.
That's my fault. Yeah.
Attorney Egan, have you got anything to add
I'm
to
fine. Thank you,
this
Deputy Mayor.
ceremony? Public to be heard. Yes, Dennis.
It's been a long week. Good evening, Dennis Ross, 32 West Main Street. The snow removal, not to read, on public streets, where does our liability begin and end? And you're talking about the sandwich boards on public space, but we maintain the sidewalk, I don't understand that. Is that how it works, Mr. Regan?
Is what? I'm sorry, I missed the
The
first
snow
part.
removal.
Snow removal.
We don't.
Snow removal is the property owner's responsibility.
But, okay, but it's public, okay, I didn't understand how that works.
That's just,
And I wasn't trying to be
that's like
problematic, I
standard,
just didn't, it
Brian,
didn't make
that's like
sense.
standard municipal law.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And snow removal not being done on Main Street is, I think, is a big issue right now, and especially when you say we're responsible for it, it's the curb, I guess, is our responsibility?
The building owner is responsible.
Okay, to the curb line, that's as big an issue right now as the sandwich boards themselves, it's not being done. I don't know where the enforcement of that comes down the line.
Where in particular, what spot in particular?
Mostly my end, from my end up is real bad.
You're in up,
From my end heading west, I'm sorry, excuse me, west, is very spotty.
Which, was there a property in particular?
Yeah. Right,
What?
David's, right, or not, I don't know what I did, the bridal, he's just terrible, I keep going over and helping him, but he doesn't wanna help him.
I think what happens is that, we only have 2 code officers on, they may not walk by that stretch, they maybe do, but if you pick up the phone and say, hey, this building
What?
didn't shovel, we would send
did you,
something
have
down.
you called it in?
Yeah, I called him, he doesn't.
Called it in?
No,
I know where to start, how to begin this, to be honest with you. I don't know if
You
it's
should call
code
me.
or call you.
Call me and I will initiate.
Okay,
because that's the best way to handle,
Alright,
like Roy
'cause
said, they're not,
He was really under the impression that it's not his responsibility, he can't, it's public property, they take care
Well,
of it, so
has
I
he
didn't
ever
know.
seen the village be shut?
That's what I said, you know what, you see me out there, you know what do you?
Yeah, he's been here long enough to know that,
Okay, that's,
I can understand if it was some new business or whatever,
yeah,
but.
but there's been a lot of, the security cameras that are being placed through the bid, are those gonna be live streaming webcams for new access? This is a huge
No.
drive of revenue on these things, and
They will not be open public access. They will,
that's just 100% wrong, Christopher.
What, you want us to put them live?
Absolutely.
So we can watch them?
And because the crime that it deters is astronomical.
But you said something about revenue,
The revenue, the easiest way to do it is go on to Wall Street from Key West and look at that page and see like that's Patchogue. And these are live streaming webcams. The revenue that's being created on that page is
What,
supports those.
they pull in advertising?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
think
huge advertising dollars.
the intention of these cameras are strictly security, not for tourists. So that Key West photo, let me just,
Yeah.
you know, those webcams are all over. You look on, you look
Yeah.
on Eiffel
Yeah.
Tower, you
Oh,
look
okay,
at one
all
at,
right,
you know,
I
Big
understand.
Ben.
Yeah, these are
You look at one in
security
Dublin,
cameras.
down Temple Street, look at the Temple bars. That's not the intention of these cameras. Because the concern is if they become public access, because these are security cameras, the bad guys will figure out exactly what angles are not covered by those.
Okay.
And the bad guys will figure out exactly what shadow to stay in. So the concern was not to have those cameras. That may be an excellent idea for four corners, maybe off one of the other buildings for fun and games, and interest in snow and weather and traffic and all those things. But the intention of these are very, very narrow.
Okay, because I know for the ones on Wall Street, with the business owners, they can reduce insurance costs because of the 24-hour security that's now there, that's being seen by millions. You know, people leave things in front of the building, it's a win-win all the way around.
And this is a
Having
joint
seen-
project with sub-county police too, right? So I don't think they're gonna want to
I
have
mean,
this stuff.
really
It's a
what's
good
going on
idea.
with that thing, it's not,
well, it's an interesting idea,
I-
and I will take note of it, because there is one camera that's not gonna be part of the system right now, that we'll get later.
okay,
That will look at the front door of the corner of, the northwest corner of North Main, North Ocean, Maine. Great camera right there.
I think, yeah, I'm surprised, anyway.
You can make that tourist camera. Have your picture taken in Patchogue.
Patty, thank you for all your help today.
you're welcome, yes.
Mr. Egan, your email, the link is not working from the homepage of the,
There was a whole problem with our
Oh,
email.
Yeah, we've been
okay.
having
Oh,
a
really?
major issue
Yeah,
with.
mine
Yeah,
is
the whole thing was
completely
down.
You're still dead? Mine's working now.
I think my password expired while I was out,
Really?
so.
We've been having a lot of issues.
But we're working on it.
Telephone
Yeah.
and
can I get an email address from you, Mr. Egan?
Yeah, BEGAN at patchogue.org.
Okay, or it doesn't work, okay.
Or,
Oh,
yes.
Okay, because that one's not working, if that's the link one, or is it, you have to go,
I'm getting
Yeah, I
emails on
sent
that
it.
now.
okay, because I,
There was a village email where I had a problem with Joe Dean's and Anne Marie Monte's emails that bounced back to me, but they told me there was
you
a,
might
all
be on
screwed
an
up.
older version
Interface
of
problem.
the website,
Annie's, that's.
because
Yeah.
we updated the web a while back, and believe it or not, we can't get the old page down, and that might be what you're accessing.
really,
Yeah,
okay,
so
I'll,
go in and do a
I'll-
www.patchoguevillage.org and make sure you're up to
I
date.
know.
yeah, but it's just a link now, so you're right, it could be an old page
I
on,
think that's
Yeah.
what you
Linking
probably
to.
have.
You're
All
on the
right.
roll, man.
all right.
Come on, Dennis.
I'm trying, at least the parking problems I've found, I've forwarded on to David. There are some fundamental issues. People don't understand what extended time is because you have to put a lot in. There's no lot for Main Street. So there are a few little glitches, but by and large, those meters are working. I wish they were in the back. Trustees,
They will be.
Yeah.
Look at this, and we mentioned,
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
We were there
But
today.
do you find that there's more available parking on Main
Absolutely.
Street now?
They
See, that's why
are
I didn't
working.
understand some of the discussion
you
tonight.
know, yes, people don't want to pay to come to Patchogue. Well, I'm sorry, they don't. But
I pull into
yes,
town now
it
and there's
works.
plenty
The
of spaces.
spaces are flipping.
Yeah, they're flipping, right?
And when they come in the back, that will be a godsend. That will end a lot of the concerns of the village. and I think the price is wrong, a bit late, but that's neither here nor there, but they are working. There are some fundamental glitches that are wrong with it. People don't, it doesn't screen through correctly. The big thing is extend time. You pull out of a space, I pull into it. Am I extending your time? Am I buying new time?
You have to buy new time, you're
I-
buying new time.
I understand that. How do I know that by that screen? You know what I mean? That's the problem I hear at the one.
Yeah, because
A
I guess
lot.
the machine doesn't know.
Doesn't
if
know
it's a
you
new
left.
person or
Right.
is it someone, yeah.
And Main Street doesn't have a lot number, a SAT associated to it, so people
But I
don't know.
It's a
Yeah,
space.
but
People have,
But Main Street only
Space
gives you
number.
90 minutes, and then you can't extend time.
it,
You're not supposed to
that
be
meter,
able to
that
extend
meter
time.
does allow it.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't
I
know if
asked-
it's a glitch in that particular meter.
Ask you for a lot number. The one by the bank, right up
Right,
front.
so
Well,
that's
the one
not
actually
programmed
across.
correctly, so that's not programmed
Yes,
correctly,
yes,
because
it's
you're not
okay.
supposed to do that.
All right,
Because you're in, it's a one-zone system now. So
All right, I-
I shouldn't
I-
be asking you any questions like that. And which one is it, the one in front of the
One in
bank?
front of
no,
the bank.
yeah, the one in front of me, actually, is the one that's the one I know.
When you
that-
interact with.
Well, yeah, well, I smoke, okay, I'm on the curb, I'm smoking at home.
Yeah.
So like,
Were you
Yeah.
standing in front of Ronnie's Jewelry when he
Yes,
was yelling at
that-
those people in the
yes.
crosswalk?
and I talked to
He
him.
was so wrong.
Yes,
He
he
gave that
was.
person the finger.
And then he started a fight with me
And then I
on
looked
the
up and I
sidewalk,
saw
and I'm
you
like,
there.
this guy, he's
Public
you know,
comment.
but the mayor's addressed that issue. Once the tri-tech's done, people will understand it. People don't understand that when the light, even though the traffic's flowing, let the cars turn left, or, from the westbound to the.
Had the green arrow, I was
Yeah.
behind him to make the left. And coming from Ronnie's Jewelry was a family with a disabled person. But they had a red light, they had the don't walk, and the guy in front of me, he's just turning, she starts to wheel her wheelchair out, and this guy's screaming at him, "Give it a finger." I got out of the car. I said,
Yeah.
"Excuse me, you have a red light."
Yeah, it was
I
bad.
I don't know what,
And I told him down on the sidewalk,
And then I
because
saw
they're getting ready to go, and I said, listen, let the turning cars, and then he said something very rude to me. I'm like, all
He
right,
was
jump
very
out there,
rude.
you know? You're
no
not-
problem.
Well, thanks for your
Yes.
observation.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kirby, thank you very much for the sale of the building, and that's gonna be kept the way it is. That's huge. It's tired of seeing Board's building tore down. So, thank you thank you board for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Kemp has his hand up. Yes, Mr. Kemp.
Good evening, Richard Kemp, James Damon. Mr. Deputy Mayor, I have a question regarding a motion that was made tonight, and I'm really surprised that nobody brought up about the Brookhaven Town Hall building and the sewage pipe extension. Who's gonna pay the cost?
That would be the property owner, right?
Property
Always,
owner.
always.
Okay, well then, it should be part of that motion.
I don't think it needs to
It
be.
it always is. It's
It's-
the property owner's responsibility if they want to extend the sewer.
Well, we don't really have the cost until the map and plan is done, so our motion just really gave permission to make the map and plan.
It's considered a conceptual.
Yeah, and I mean, and if they don't
It's
hook up to
routine.
the, and they may, you know, they don't have to hook up to the sewer, right?
Correct.
So-
Well, the way the motion was presented is, they requested that the sewer main be extended so that they could connect to the sewer main.
Oh, well, that's,
Well,
Should
those
have been
were
asked.
not the words. The words were to allow us to have an out-of-district connection. That's what it says.
we do.
That's
we
not
need to
the
put that in?
process.
Do we need to put that in the resolution?
There is no circumstance when the village would extend a sewer line at taxpayer expense. It would always be extended at the developer's expense, the property owner's expense.
Right.
They want to connect to an out-of-district connection, which what that is.
Okay, just as long as we have a clear understanding.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to ask if the village of Patchogue has any plans to develop any type of anti-nepotism policy.
I don't know, do we have one, Roy?
Not particularly,
Do
no.
we have nepotism?
So we have the nepotism.
It hasn't been brought up.
Well, I am.
Okay.
And I'd like to state also that the town of Brookhaven is very strong in anti-nepotism laws.
Correct.
and it should be brought up. So, okay. I'd like to ask, some time ago, there was a law passed regarding no feeding of wild animals on Patchogue Village property. And I'd like to know if this could be extended to private property. And the reason I'm asking this is because I had a neighbor who fed cats by the millions and moved out October 1st and left all the cats behind. So now my property is overrun with all his abandoned cats. When I walk out my door, the smell of cat urine is terrible.
You don't feed them?
No, absolutely no
Don't
way.
don't go away. Don't go away, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't-
Did you try the mud flakes, Mr. Kemp? Remember last year?
I bought special stuff from,
Yeah, they only go when there's food, believe me. Is there anything on our,
No, Mr. Kemp is correct, it's only on village property.
yeah, but I mean, can you stop from somebody feeding wild animals?
It's very difficult from a profit.
I know that, I just saw it on News 12, somewhere out west on Long Island, they banned a fellow from feeding geese and seagulls, I think. He was bringing out food from his commercial property, and the neighbors complained about it, and they had some kind of law passed against it.
that was also in Nassau County.
Yeah, it was in Nassau County, right, it just happened recently.
And there was another issue in Nassau County of a similar nature also. And there were established laws that,
Well,
they took this man to court.
we don't have a law in the village to prevent it right now.
All right, well, let me state this. I have been in touch with every organization you can dream of. Brookhaven Town Hall, Animal Shelter, the SPCA, the Health Department. None of them will touch feral cats.
I know.
And they have all, well, particularly the Health Department, they told me that since I live in an incorporated village, that this is the most likely place where you have the ability to establish a law regarding wild animals.
Were you here when we tried to ban feeding feral cats on village property?
No.
That was the biggest
Yes.
public turnout ever.
What's that?
People came from New Jersey,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
This
Look
room
back
is
in the archives of the
The
minutes.
minutes.
We have a budget meeting every year, and maybe 2 people show up. We go to ban feral cats, and we had 150 people here with t-shirts and signs.
Well,
So, I mean, it's,
Well, I'm in a situation where I've gotta live with this, and I can't
like I
do
said,
anything.
they'll go away, Mr. Kemp.
They're
You
not,
don't
they're
feed them,
not,
they'll go
because
away.
people are
Joe,
still
who are the people
feeding
who
these
track
cats.
I mean, there are groups that will take them if now the
Good,
person,
get a hold of them.
but it's private property, Mr. Kemp, we can't do anything about it. You're gonna have to do something. or talk to
What, do
people.
what?
Call
Do
them.
what?
I have no idea, I'm not a feral cat expert. Don't
Yeah.
feed them and they'll go away.
I don't feed them.
Good, then they'll go away, they'll go find food someplace.
I wish that were the case.
Well, they have to
Okay,
eat
now,
somewhere.
addressing the chair, and a comment made by Trustee Keys. And this was in a public hearing that I had requested in 2011, where I requested a no parking zone be created on Jennings Avenue, opposite my house. And I gave very good reasons. And Trustee Keys interjected with, what would I feel if there were campers all up and down my street? And I respond with, well, what about the DRD zone? And now we have New Village, and now that it's 90% constructed, I'd like to know if he has changed his position.
I'm not even too sure I know what you're talking about, Mr. Jennings, Mr. Kemp, to be honest with you. You're talking about the new village construction,
Yes, and
and
the
all these
parking
on Jennings
situation.
Avenue. I'm not too sure, I'm sorry. Can you just,
Okay. Basically, right now, you have a better idea of the size of that building and the magnitude of the parking problems that are going to be created.
I'm not in, well, go ahead, never mind, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right. In the 1940s, on Maple Avenue, there was an apartment building built on the corner of Dawn Street with underground parking. And it went through the, whatever boards, it had to go for a application, building permit and everything. Since the day that that building was built, since I've been around, in the 1950s, that building, there has always been parking all around that building on the street. And from what Mayor Ponieri told me, there is nothing they can do because they went through the zoning board and everything they asked for was approved. So there is a very problematic situation there, and from New Village and what I see going on, it's going to be Jennings Avenue, it's going to be Union Avenue. There will be cars parked all over the place.
Well, if I can just interject, I think it's something that we'll see when it comes to fruition. To do something now, and I don't know how this relates to one parking space across the street from your home.
Yeah, that's where I was confused.
If you could just stick to just that parking space across from your home, maybe we can understand a little bit more what you're trying to get at. But to try and include it into Maple Avenue and New Village and everything, I think it's kind of walking off the
Well,
trail a
no,
little bit.
Maple Avenue, I'm using as an example.
But what are you trying to get at? What's your point on Mr. Key's comment about?
You're the RVs on Jennings.
Yeah, I don't.
All right, well, let me finish
Not
about
to
the
be late, but it's
Maple Avenue.
getting late, but, you know, I mean, we want to try to help you, but just kind of focus on what the
All right,
problem is.
the Maple Avenue apartment went through all the boards, was approved.
But is your issue now with New Village, or is it the issue of the parking space across the street from your house?
Well, let me say this. We've had the Emporium come to Patchogue. Now, they had certain rights, but the parking situation and what's going on around there is terrible. And as I see it, Jennings Avenue, give 2 or 3 years from now, when it's fully developed and fully occupied, there is going to be parking problems all over. Jennings Avenue, Union Avenue.
Sorry, I didn't hear
Because
that.
anybody who says, gee, I'm a little short this month, is going to say, you know what? I'll park on the street if you can give me a little bit off my rent.
It's not gonna happen.
Well,
I
can
you know,
tell
I
you-
understand I understand what you're saying, but let's be reasonable, okay?
Well, I
know,
can
you're
tell you
arguing
this.
here.
I have been told that the Maple Avenue apartments at one time did charge a fee to park underground.
I know, I lived there for a period of time in the 80s.
Well, am I right or wrong?
I don't remember, but I parked in the garage, but I don't remember. What's that? Yeah, I don't remember. Yes, definitely. Yeah. I don't remember, but I did park in the garage. But people did park on the street, you're right. But how does this, I don't
Mr.
understand.
Kemp, we've heard this request before, where you requested a private, no parking spot across the street from your house to aid you in pulling your camper into your driveway, right? It's called an H and H, that's what it is.
It's not only my camper, it's
Okay.
just my truck
Okay.
alone.
So it's a private request that this board considered and there was no motion and no second to adopt that no parking zone. As a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, there were quite a few residents that came out and spoke against that parking spot and making that a
They
no
lied.
parking zone. Okay, that's your opinion. The rest of your entire neighborhood has a different opinion. I understand your concern about what may or may not happen with parking, whether that comes to pass or not. When that comes up and it's ripe for adjudication, now it's premature. If that does in fact exacerbate the parking concerns, and your neighbors join you in that request, that will be duly considered by this board, and I'm sure you'll get a very popular vote if the neighborhood is in favor of making that a no parking area for you.
Let me state this, since you were at that hearing in 2011,
Yes,
that hearing, after the speakers spoke against me, I asked for rebuttal, and I was refused by the mayor, and you were sitting as attorney.
no question.
And it's all recorded in the minutes also.
No question. The minutes were 100% accurate.
I have also
And sustain
asked,
your statement of facts, that's exactly correct.
I have also asked to have that hearing done over, because was not done in correct fashion. All right. I'd like to ask about the electric lights on North Ocean Avenue, where people had Christmas lights put on. Has anything been done about that, or?
I don't know, trustee Keys, have you heard anything new on that, or?
I haven't heard anything one way or the other, I don't know if they're still plugged in.
Would you prefer that we not allow people to put Christmas lights?
Well, it's a liability issue. If it's raining and some idiot gets a ladder out and plugs something in and gets shocked. Now, I don't know how that was wired. It could be wired that outlet, I don't know why they ordered it built in the lamp post. It had to be ordered that way. They might have wired it where the whole outlets is controlled by one switch.
Trustee Keys,
I don't know.
can you look into that?
Yeah, I will, and I did have a conversation after that, and my.
We'll look into that.
Foggy.
Next.
I was still thinking about those foggies on Jennings.
Yeah, okay. Next,
All right, there is one light out on the west side of North Ocean Avenue. by
Did they get the
81.
one baited, it's still out?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you gave that to me last time, I did give it to them, we've had a. quite a
Yeah, they
few,
got one fixed.
We have like one part-time electrician, so sometimes it's hard to keep up, but 89 North is, the one is still out?
On the west side.
Okay.
and let me just say, I appreciate that, Mr. Kemp, and I wish that everybody in this village, when they saw a light out, would
Yeah.
call Village
Well, they do.
Hall and report it. So,
I just noticed it
good,
tonight.
good, thank you. In the parking lots too. If they see one in the parking lot, please.
All right, I feel that the noise levels for all of these Alive at 5 and all of the establishments who have outdoor permits, whatever you refer to them as, the noise levels, the decibel, it's just simply too loud. And there are people who live to the south of Main Street. So I am not the only one who is affected by these high noise levels. So I'm asking, could that be looked into?
We look into that every year. We're always looking at our noise ordinances.
Okay, I'd like to ask why every report of the theater, there is never a financial report.
Because they don't need to give us a finance. They're a 501c3 independent board, independent of the village. They don't have to give us a financial report. It's not part of their, they don't need to.
It's a private not-for-profit that operates the theater.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating what the next question is. Why is that? Is that your question?
Well, the villages have a serious, a big financial investment in that
No
building.
doubt.
And taxpayers pay that bond or whatever it is.
Correct. And the reason,
Millions of dollars. Not thousands,
It's gonna be
millions.
paid off soon,
Yeah.
isn't it?
the reason why there's a non-for-profit corporation that manages the theater is that because of the taxpayer-funded bonds, having a non-for-profit makes those bonds tax-free. We would have an increased cost, and every resident would pay much, much more money if those bonds did not have a tax-free cost. The requirement of those bonds was that the management of the theater had to be done by a non-for-profit corporation.
Still in all, those bonds must be paid off.
No question.
And
And we're trying to pay them off on a tax-free basis.
They're almost paid off.
To
right?
save money.
What year?
Well, that's what we never hear. They're almost paid off, but we never hear that.
What do you mean you never hear that?
We never hear a report, like tonight you gave a report of the parking meters and how much revenue they are producing. But we never hear that when it comes to the theater.
Jack, at the next meeting, you can have a maturation date of the bond, give it exactly to the day.
Yeah, we can find out when the bond's gonna be
Mr.
paid.
Kemp, you do raise a good point. I mean, they do audit the theater. We do get a report. It is once a year. I made mention in the past that perhaps we should get that a little bit more frequently. Just get an update of what the ticket sales were, what were the gross receipts for the theater. To do that periodically, I think it would be a good bit of information for us to just gauge how successful the theater is being managed financially.
It's
So,
also a
if
trustee's obligation.
I am well aware of that. You don't need to tell me what my duties are. But what I'm saying is that we do get those reports once a year. I am in agreement with you that perhaps it should be done a little bit more frequently where we do get a financial report, perhaps on a quarterly basis. How many tickets were sold in the past 3 months? What was the net gross receipts for those shows? I'm in agreement with you, Mr.
That would be, I think that's fairer to everyone who lives here and everyone who has been involved with that theater and everyone who has to pay taxes here.
And I will bring it up with the theater board once again.
Now,
Thank you, Jack.
I'd like to ask about the roof.
Okay, what's about the roof now?
What is the status of that?
We're hoping to get it built very soon. We just
How much will that cost?
$350,000.
$350,000. Well, I hope this time you get a manufacturer's warranty,
Yes,
not a
we do.
contractor's
We
warranty.
have a manufacturer's warranty, 50 years on product and the installation and everything, 50 years. The best warranty you can get in the business.
I believe it must be inspected by the company.
Yes, it does.
Before
And that's
they
why
will
we hired, one of their approved contractors to install the roof, because that keeps the warranty whole.
The installation specifications were
Yes.
provided by an architect.
Yes.
All right, that's
This
all.
roof will be here way longer than you and I.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp.
Thank you.
Mr. Kemp, try the moth flakes, please, a lot of moth flakes. They'll chase the cats away.
I have Rid Away, that's the name of it, Rid Away. It costs $15 a can, a little can.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
$15 for a little can, it lasts, if it lasts 2 weeks.
Moth flakes, they're cheaper.
Do you have a dog?
Huh?
Do you have a dog?
No, my neighbor does.
Oh.
And as soon as he sees those cats, he lets that dog out, and that dog goes right after him. But I got a 6-foot fence in between, so the cat comes over in my yard.
They'll go away, but you don't.
You need a copy, Mr.
Well,
Chairman.
relax. Maybe become a cat lover.
It's not only cats. This man fed everything, squirrels, birds, he had Canadian geese laying in his backyard.
All right, anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Kemp, for your comments.
Good night.
Appreciate it. Anybody else have a comment? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Choose the wash.